Welcome back, Sports Underground. Continuing the preview here, moving down to NFC South. 4 teams in the division, really only 3 because Carolina, I mentioned their name once, I'm not going to mention it again. They're the doormat, they're going nowhere fast. They have Cam Newton, end story.
Yep, they're a bunch of no counts, and the only guy you can name on the team is probably Cam Newton, and that's about where it starts and stops.
You're absolutely right. Ron Rivera, the new coach, takes over. I guess that's the only other thing of note going on with them. So moving up, 3rd place in the division. Surprise move here for me a little bit. I'm going to put it in 3rd. I think they don't necessarily regress, but 10-11 wins, still not a bad season. I just think that Tampa Bay's got a little more than they do. The big move for Julio Jones in the offseason, trading 5 draft picks to get one guy who may or may not be a deal breaker, and then the hangover from the way they exited the playoffs with the complete run over by the Packers.
Yeah, a couple things to address there. I'm not sure if Julio Jones is the guy you need to address right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think you could have probably gone and found a receiver that's as good, if not better, right now as we talk in the NFL as Julio Jones.
Right.
So I don't. A little bit too much to give up for him right now,
right.
Especially for a team that's that close. They could have maybe addressed somewhere else on their team multiple times.
Right.
They could have.
Well, yeah, those 5 draft picks. Maybe you don't get Julio Jones, but maybe you hit on something.
Sure.
Without getting. Plus, you're going to help your team in other areas. I can't imagine that receiver was the only thing you thought you needed on your team.
Mortgaging the future too. I mean,
right.
How many years down the road are we still going to be paying for this?
So, I know you disagree a little bit with this, but I got Tampa in 2nd. It's kind of a Tampa-Atlanta mixed conversation here. But Josh Freeman really came to his own last year. Mike Williams had a great year. Undrafted free agent LeGarrette Blount ran, very, very well last few games of the year. He's going to be carrying the load this year, and I expect 1,200 yards and probably 12 or 13 touchdowns out of that guy. I think he's poised for a big year. Only negatives with Tampa is Talik with the gun charge down in Texas, not punished by the NFL. And every time you get a team with this kind of turmoil, with the exception of Ben Roethlisberger last year with the Steelers, it seems to have a negative effect on your team. That's the only thing I see wrong with them right now.
A couple things on that. I'm not sold on the Josh Freeman experiment. I don't think he's as good as maybe you think he is right now. But like I mentioned before, I don't think he has to be right now. Quarterback for that team might be a lot like a Joe Flacco is to Baltimore,
right.
Where he doesn't necessarily have to win you the game.
Right.
He just has to do his part and do enough not to lose you the game.
Right.
If that makes any sense. There's other intangibles there, like coaching. There's other intangibles like defense, special teams, things like that can carry that team on to the future and on to a couple wins. Another thing, depth might be a concern for that team. I'm not sure how deep they are.
Right.
I don't know if they have a star power either.
Right.
I mean, they might lack a little bit of leadership right now. Very young team, very young.
So moving on to the number 1 team in the division, the New Orleans Saints. Obviously losing the opener to Green Bay. The only negative I kind of see with them out of that game, aside from a few injuries, is that unable to get a yard when they needed a yard. They couldn't push it across the goal line. They couldn't get a 3rd and 1 or a 4th and 1 earlier in the game. So a couple questions there, but I still think they're going to rebound. I still think they're going to be the class of this division.
No surprise that a lot of points were scored in that game. I think you got to remember too that they were down by 8 points, not 7. So if they do score that touchdown, they still have a 2-point conversion to go. So let's not just say that they won the game on that touchdown. Hindsight's always 20/20. Yeah, why are you running the ball when passing worked all night long?
Yeah, 420 odd yards, and you haven't done it before, so why not stick her in the end zone that way?
But let's not forget, they were in an excellent position to take control and win that game in Green Bay, a tough place to play, a tough team to play in the opener. So definitely a team that's to be contended with.
Right. So fantasy player out of the AFC South, or NFC South, excuse me.
NFC South, I like the LeGarrette Blount pick. I think that's going to be a good one. A guy that I picked, Julio Jones. I know we talked about him maybe giving up a little bit too much, but especially in a keeper league, get him young, get him early, get him often, because if the guy explodes, you never know.
Right. I'm going to go with Jimmy Graham. Already had a touchdown in the first game. I have him in a couple of my leagues. Really high on him. Looks like kind of the next breakthrough multi-sport. Played some basketball in Miami. Now moving to football. Great hands. Able to run away from a lot of linebackers that are going to be covering him, I think.
Yeah.
And, I'm thinking 700 yards, 4 or 5 touchdowns, but a really nice tight end for your
solid
team.
season for a tight end. A lot of people are high on him, and I I agree too.
And the keeper league thing also works well with him. That get him early, get him often. He's going to pay dividends 2 or 3 years. He may be Antonio Gates like as far as tight ends go. I have a feeling.
Very good pick.
All right, that's going to do it for the NFC South, and we'll be right back with our final NFC North division and then our predictions for the season.